Welcome to Nourish, where we feed you bite-sized nuggets of wisdom for your body, mind, and soul. My name is Tammy Mack. Happy New Year's. Happy first full moon of 2022. This is the full moon in Cancer, and actually it is called the Wolf Moon. Now, this is a Mohawk name, and it reminds us, it alerts us of the howling of the wolves in the cold January winters. And so I am a Canadian girl. I celebrate and I experience the cold winters. And interesting, when it is super cold, you literally can hear the wolves, and in my case in the prairies it's the coyotes, howling quite a bit in the winter. So whether it is that their voices carry in the evenings, and I mean, obviously the evenings last a lot longer. In fact, it's dark at like 5:30 here, but very interesting that it is called the Wolf Moon. And so this is a fun session that we're going to be having, because I'm going to be talking about the lunar nodes shift a little bit this time. So the lunar node shift on January the 18th, and they are going to shift. They generally shift for about 12 to 18 months. And we just had the Sagittarius and Gemini throughout 2020, 2021. And now we are moving into the Taurus and the Scorpio. And this is super interesting because I turned 44 this year. And so I am going through my own Uranus opposition, which means that I am also experiencing my nodal change as well. So every 18 months, the nodes change signs. And like I said before, they change from Sagittarius and Gemini, and now they're coming in to Scorpio and Taurus. And let's think about this for a second, how interesting this was, because 2020, 2021, we had the Sagittarius and Gemini. And Sagittarius is fire, is pushing forward. It is, the kind of the wanting more. And Gemini is communication, of being two minds. And then we had Mercury go retrograde in the air signs last year. And how interesting how communication, information was such a hot topic for last year. This year, 2022, is considered a master number. And this is what I coined, like I got this message back in October that this year was going to be a master builder. We're going to be master builders. We're going to be building our foundations. And once again, we see that the nodal shift kind of explains with the Scorpio, the transformation, the watery transformation through a sting, through a pain point. And then we have Taurus, which loves, loves its sacral nature, loves to be in beauty and luxury. And both of these signs do not like change. They are not, they don't like to change. And so it's going to be so interesting, the changes that we're going to see in this year as we build our foundations, as we've seen so much disruption and change happening since 2019, 2020. Now we have Mercury going retrograde also in earth signs. So we're kind of seeing a pattern here. And so in this 18 months, we are going to be cosmically pushed to release our old patterns and create new ones. And these patterns may have been patterns that have been in your life for a long time, and they are not necessarily going to be easy to shift. And so these may be patterns that is going to take you to get to a pain point, or, you know, that Scorpio sting, for you to finally get comfortable with being uncomfortable enough to change. Because we do not change through comfort, right? We change when we are uncomfortable. So even though we are coming in as master builders, we're coming in as creatrixes of our matrices, there is going to be a time where we are stabilizing energy. There's going to be a time where we are the anchor, and we're anchoring in the light codes, and we're anchoring in what's coming in. And then there's times where we're going to be building. And so really playing with these themes of our foundation, our relationships, and the transformation that is still going to occur. You know, if you thought 2020 was, you know, huge, it was, but we're starting to kind of build. And what is our new now? What is our new, you know, we're not going back. We're not going to go back to the old ways. So what are the ways that we are building now that we're going to try to start building our foundations from? And so this is going to be a really exciting year if you have that awareness that, yes, we're going to be experiencing some shifts. So when we look at the North Node, this is typically our breathing out, and the South Node is our breathing in. So heads up, we are going to see 4 eclipses in 2022. The first is in April 30th. It's a partial solar eclipse. It's in Taurus. And then we're going to see a lunar eclipse, a total lunar eclipse on May 15th and 16th in Scorpio. And then October 21st, we're going to see another partial solar eclipse in Scorpio. And then the last eclipse that we're going to have is in November 8th. And this will be the Taurus total lunar eclipse. So the South Node is generally the first 44 years, you know, 38 to 44 years of your life, depending, where you're breathing in experiences. And then when we go through the Uranus opposition, mine is this year, we start to breathe out our wisdom. So the North Node is in Taurus, South Node is in Scorpio. Taurus is an earth element, and it can be a little bullheaded, right? Because it is the bull. I tell a story of Ferdinand the Bull. So if you know that story, and if you don't, send me a message, and I'd love to tell you the story, because it's such a perfect story between this Scorpio and this Taurus. So the Taurus, they're practical, they're strong, they like a solid plan. They like a strong foundation in order to collaborate with others towards a common goal. Tauruses, you know, they're strong, they're loyal, but hey, they can be a little bit lazy sometimes. They love being comfortable. They don't necessarily want to be uncomfortable or want to change unless there is a plan, a game plan, unless there is a goal, is the only time they really want to change. Now, Scorpio is a water sign, and it is emotional. So it's also a fixed sign. And what happens with the Scorpio is that it stings, right? And so they can sting when it's provoked. And so we are going to be provoking the Scorpio through this lunar activation, and it'll be interesting how you experience the sting. So they shed their old skin, and so that they can rise like a phoenix from the fire of transformation. So Scorpio is very transformational, watery, emotional energy. And so we are going to see some big shifts happening this year. Now, in human design, the North Node is in gate 8. And gate 8 is to lead as an example of individuality. So it's empowering others to do the same and to unite your ideas through diversity. So you are here to be unique. You are here to dance to the beat of your own drum. And this inspires other people to do the same. And so trusting that you have a unique role and purpose, and to do things your way, not to conform to what everyone else is doing. I'm going to say this again. To do things your own way and not to do what everyone else is doing, and to collaborate towards a common goal. And so we see this in the Taurus as well, right? Collaborating, being unique, being different, but knowing that you have your own purpose and you have a unique role. Now, interesting is the South Node is in gate 14 in human design. Gate 14 is the only gate in the human design body graph that talks about working for money. And it really is this absolute joy, because it comes out of the sacral, right? It comes out of the sacral. It's the satisfaction of what I'm doing. I get recognition from, and it's through money. So it's easier to respond and attract prosperity rather than use force. Now, we literally are just coming out of gate 35 or gate 3420, where we were responding once again out of the sacral. We were responding and understanding that what we have to share is best shared through power instead of force. And so here we are again with the gate 14 still saying, okay, it's time to make some money. It's time to build some foundations. You may need some money to rebuild, to restructure. And what you're doing has to be in alignment with what it is that you truly want. And so that you're attracting it. You're having the vision, you're attracting what you want instead of forcing it, instead of pushing, because that is going to create more blocks than actually doing less and attracting it instead of pushing. So we're once again connecting to our own personal, our own sovereign power, connecting to the uniqueness that we are, knowing that we all have a role to play that's unique and individual to you. We're going to attract the right people in our lives so that we can do this all together, and we're going to be responding in a way that works for money. So this is going to be very, very interesting. And once again, when we think about the Taurus loves comfort, luxury, right? We just came out of Sagittarius that was all about go big or go home. And the Taurus is kind of like, yeah, I like that. I like to have nice things. So if I have to work for that, I'm going to do it in response instead of pushing my way through. So this will be a very interesting energy that we're going to be moving through in the next year, and I can't wait to watch it. Okay, so coming back, Monday we are going to have a Cancer full moon, and the Cancer is all about going deeper, going beneath the shell that protects that softness inside. And Cancer is very, very comfortable in with the moon. It is because the ruling planet is the moon. And so Cancer, once again, is a water sign. It's mutable. It likes change. It has a huge imagination. They're loyal. They can be very emotionally sympathetic, and they can be quite persuasive. But the Cancer is prone to guard themselves. They guard themselves by having a shell, by having a heart wall, because this is related to the mother. And this is related to unconditional love. And so when we look back at childhood patterns, and we may or may not have experienced unconditional love, this creates a conditioning in us that tends to make us a little bit prickly, tends to make us have a little bit of a shell around us, because we protect ourselves when we are not experiencing what it is that we want. So Cancers tend to hold on to family and friends, the people that they love very, very tightly, because it's related to love and wanting to be loved and wanting the people that love us to be close by. When we look at the Cancer sign in the tarot card, we see that it is represented by the Chariot. And so we see that the Chariot has he wears armor, right? So he's wearing armor around him, decorated with the crescent moons. And although he appears to be driving the chariot is, the guy is actually not holding the reins. And this symbolizes that he uses his control through his will and through his mind. So he's not, cracking a whip, trying to force things to happen. It's through his will and thy will, and through his mindset that he knows is going to happen, but he's not taking action yet, right? He's about to take action. He's about to move forward, but he hasn't yet. So when we think about the full moon is all about releasing. This isn't initiating energy. This is what needs to be released so that when there's the new moon, I can go into action. Right? So we're releasing right now. So above his head is a canopy of a 6-pointed star, suggesting his connection to the celestial world and the divine will. So it's not my will, it's thy will, and so we could, in religion say it's, God's will, or we could say it's the collective consciousness's will, whatever will means to you, right? But it's not through the ego, it's what's in the betterment for everyone else. So behind the chariot flows a wide river, which represents water, it represents emotions, and the need to be in flow with the rhythm of life. So he is ready to charge forward. He's ready to move towards his goals and his intentions, but he's like almost taking a breath. He's almost using his, just aligning. He's getting into alignment before he's ready to go. So in human design, this full moon, the moon and the earth are both in gate 56. And it's called the Storyteller. So we see 56 is from the throat chakra, right? So it's speaking. And the full moon invites us to use your stories as a way to expand other people, to inspire other people, and not to tear them down. So finding the harmony and the balance between your outer senses and your inner awarenesses, because sometimes, a lot of times, actually, they're very, very different. And so making sure that when you are telling stories, that your stories are empowering, your stories are inspiring, and they're not stories that are tearing you down or tearing other people down. Now we see that the sun, in order to practice acceptance, and this is accepting what you can't change, but you can change what you can't accept. When we look at a situation as a container that it's meant to expand, it's meant to be explored, it's meant to be pressed up against, we see that at some point it's time to move on and not to mourn what is. So this comes out of the root chakra, and this reminds me of, a container. When you have a container, at some point, this container cannot hold on to your experiences anymore. So if this was, say, a mentor that you have, and you've learned everything that you can possibly learn from this mentor, but this mentor no longer fits you because you have grown, you've outgrown your mentor, and it is possible to outgrow your mentor. It's time to move on, right? To break that container, to end that situation, to end that partnership, and to not mourn it, to know that this is just part of the process. So making sure that when you are, looking at your container or looking at whatever it is in your life during this time of the full moon, when we're releasing, what stories are you telling? And are you ready to move on? So take this into journaling if this feels good to you. am I comfortable sharing my stories with others? Like, how comfortable are you sharing your stories? And what stories do I tell myself and others? Are they uplifting and inspiring? Or do I beat myself up and put others down? Now, this is very, very interesting energy because we all have a story. We all have stories. And really coming back to, what story are you telling? And is that story still in resonance with who you are now? Or are you telling a story of who you were a long time ago and you're ready to change that story? So, do I numb myself or find ways to be busy so I don't feel all of my feelings? So this is a great question because, in a time where we have so much anxiety, depression going on right now, are you numbing yourself down so you don't feel your feelings? So Cancer, of course, is bringing up all of these feelings right now. And so are you, finding ways to numb those feelings so you're not feeling them, right? Do I get stuck in my head? And do I cling on to the past? Do I cling on to what was? And remember what I was saying, we're not going back there. We're not going back there. This is a time to start building new containers, start building new relationships, building through diversity, not from what we have experienced in the past, but be prepared to do something different. And so in order to do something different, we have to let those stories go of the past that are no longer serving us. And what goals am I currently working on? Are they helping me to grow and expand in my life, or am I stuck and playing small? So these are really great questions to take into the full moon of the new year. We are going to be celebrating the lunar new moon in the beginning of February. And so these are really great questions to take into the new year. If you screwed up on your goals from January 1st, listen, the human design new year actually doesn't start until January 22nd, 23rd-ish, 23rd, I believe, right? So we haven't even seen the new year in human design. And then it's in February where we see the first quarter of the human design system. So the planting of the seeds, right? So we're still in that dreaming state. So if you haven't fully connected, if you haven't fully put roots down into what is going on in your life, then I highly invite you to book a session with me. Let's see what's going on, where it is that you may be stuck in your stories, where it is that you may have some deep conditioning that you feel you are ready to shift, you are ready to shed, you are ready to feel that Scorpio sting, get a little uncomfortable in your life so that you can really bring change into your life in this new year. And so building foundations of what it is that you want to experience. All right. Have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you again through the new moon.